Ready to go. The loser knows a defeat today will drop them 2 games out of first place. A good kick. Oh, Brown's going to take it out. He's got some running room. And he's dropped at the 30-yard line. Tackle made by Robert Sowell. First down from the 30. Oh, deflected by Doug Betters, number 75, the defensive end of the Dolphins. Betters very nearly had a touchdown. 2nd and 10, Jets ball, 30-yard line. Bruce Harper. Harper for 4 yards, bringing up 3rd down and 6.
And Dick, with Crutchfield hurt, they're going to have to use Harper a great deal more than they would like to. He is not a big back, and he has his best games when you can spot him in and out of the backfield using his great speed on the 3rd down situations. But again, with Crutchfield hurting and on the sideline, they're going to have to go more and more to Bruce Harper.
Crutchfield with 335 yards rushing and a 4.5 average. Powerful 230-pounder. But they'll have to go with the smaller backs today. 3rd and 6. Almost intercepted by Blackwood, or did he get it? No. The signal finally that number 47, Glenn Blackwood, unable to make that diving interception on the tip ball, and Chuck Ramsey comes in to punt for the Jets.
Richard Todd under a great deal of pressure on that throw, just barely able to get the ball away, tipped up by Gerald Small, and Glenn Blackwood dove for that football, almost got it. Now watch the kind of pressure coming from behind. Todd is going to drift to his left. Kim Bocamper, 58, will hit him right here as he starts to throw. Knock that pass offline. That really caused the problem.
Ramsey's kick is a beautiful spiral. Mark Clayton at the 19. And he's down at the 24-yard line. Again, the Jets, that's been one of their strengths this young season, coverage of the punt. Short return, 4 yards on a 48-yard Ramsey kick. For the Miami Dolphins, their offense on the field for the first time, number 13, the rookie from Pittsburgh, Dan Marino. Inside the give to Andre Franklin for 2 or 3 yards. 2nd down and 8. Franklin again, nothing there. Running right at Gastineau and Klecko. A yard at best. And 7. Out of the shotgun, Marino. Finds his man close to a first down. Oh, you can see the arm strength of Marino as he drills it to Nat Moore, the veteran wide receiver.
One of the reasons that Don Shula has been so excited about this young man is that he does have that quick rifle release. And of course, in making the decision to put Woodley on the sideline, get Marino in, he had given David Woodley a long time to prove himself during the season. Woodley had a great preseason, but had stumbled through the early part of the season. Dan Marino caught the offense on fire last week, got them firing, got 35 points on the board. That's the good news. Bad news, the defense gave up 38.
Marino, a first-round pick by the 6th quarterback selected in the draft. And Don Shula won't say that it was a steal to find him still there, but he feels very good about the fact the availability of Marino, and they quickly grabbed him. It's a first down, as you saw, at the 34-yard line.
Dick, the Dolphins will try to probe right up the middle of that Jet defensive line, and if they can hammer up the middle, they can force the Jets to do some things they don't want to do. So far, they're not getting much.
Wide open is Nat Moore, and he's on the go for the 20, the 10, touchdown, Miami. 66 yards, Marino to Moore.
Quieting down in a hurry as the veteran Nat Moore able to find a little opening, and Marino just rifling that ball to him. Moore is just going to sneak in behind Bobby Jackson. Safety's coming over, but he just flat out runs Kenny Schroy right there, and it's Bobby Jackson coming from behind number 40 and gathering ground on him, but unable to catch him before he waltzed into the end zone.
So Uwe von Schamann will try the extra point. A 66-yard touchdown. It's the longest pass play of the season for Miami. And the Dolphins strike quickly. It took them less than 3 minutes to get the lead as Nat Moore finding a crease in the defense, and a perfect throw by Marino.
Marino's 7th touchdown of the year, and boy, he just zips that ball into the gap. A good job of picking the open man and getting the ball to him.
Schroy couldn't make the tackle. Jackson couldn't catch his man. Now the kickoff again to Brown, short at the 10. But good coverage, and down at the 17-yard line is Vince Heflin, number 88, made the tackle for Miami. He's a wide receiver.
In the game last week against Buffalo, Miami was hurt by kickoff returns. Had to put their defense on the field out toward midfield on several occasions. It's one of the things they've worked very hard during the week on.
Oh, what a day in New York, Merlin. I think that you even got itchy when you came out to Shea Stadium today.
I went down, got taped up. I got ready to go.
18-yard line. The Jets trailing 7-0. To Mike Augustiniak, number 35 from Purdue University. He and Scott Durking, two ex-Boilermakers, built so much alike. Short, squatty, strong.
Climb on the inside. Watch Joe Fields right in the middle of your screen. Fine all-pro center. He'll be doing the blocking here. Nose tackle Bob Baumhauer driving him off to the side, getting a good piece of Beaucamper in the process, able to get a few yards up the middle.
Second down, a long 4. And again, it's Augustiniak plowing for what appears to be a first down. Is a walk-on at Purdue, was not drafted as a pro, Mike Augustiniak.
Back in the middle of that offensive line, we're focusing on the battle again between Fields and Baumhauer in the middle of your screen. And boy, they are going tooth and nail in the middle of that line. A standoff, but you notice how Fields kept his feet moving on that play and eventually got the better of the battle.
Joe Fields from Widener College, a 14th round draft pick. Jets have their initial first down, and the ball at the 30, check that, the 28-yard line. Wide open, Augustiniak. And he's across the 35-yard line, a gain of about 8. Well, San Diego has scored in the first quarter at New England. James Brooks on a 1-yard run. The Chargers lead the Patriots 7-0.
Now, Dick, we watched Joe Fields working on the blocking situation on the run. Let's watch him now in the middle of your screen working on Baumhauer on a passing situation. He gives away a lot of size and strength to Baumhauer, but takes good body position and able to help protect his quarterback well on that play.
2nd and 2. Going long. Lamb Jones sprinting down that right side, and he had beaten his man, William Judson. The pass just a little too long.
Well, that's one of the things that Jets really kind of kicked themselves for not doing last week against the Cleveland Browns. They only got deep twice to Walker, really didn't open that Browns defense up. Todd aiming deep for Lamb Jones, trying to use his speed on that play, and even though he didn't complete it, forces Miami to respect the deep threat.
Lamb Jones would have to rate as a disappointment with the New York Jets. Lamb now in his 4th year with New York. He's caught some big passes, but he's not been as consistent as they had hoped. 3rd and short. There's the short yardage. Crutchfield. Bad leg and all. First down at the 45-yard line. Richard Todd now 2 for 5. Crutchfield's first catch, and he stays in the game.
After Joe Walton lost Freeman McNeil, he began to use Crutchfield a great deal more, and Crutchfield has proved to be a good receiver as well as a runner. Amazingly quick and agile for a big man. Huge, powerful legs. I'm really sorry that he's hurt today. I was anxious to see how he would do against this Miami defense.
He is the lone back behind Todd. First down at the Jets 45. Miami leading 7-0. 9 minutes left, first quarter. Crutchfield near midfield before Rodell Thomas, 54, can lead a defensive charge for Miami. Thomas playing for Ernest Roan, who did not make the trip.
Dick, I'm sure there are fans at home saying, well, if he's hurt, why is he playing? Players still have to go when they're injured, and Crutchfield had strained that hamstring on Wednesday, as we'd indicated. I talked to him about it yesterday. He said, I'll still be able to play. He said, I've played with worse injuries, but it will limit my effectiveness.
2nd and 5. Crutchfield short of the first down as the Jets are in Miami territory near the 46-yard line. Rodell Thomas put a pretty good lick on Big Crutchfield. Thomas from Alabama State.
Crutchfield, top of your screen now, takes the ball, goes right at Beaucamper, number 58, gets inside, and that is a good hit by the young rookie right there. I'm sure he felt it as well as Crutchfield did. That's a lot of meat meeting out there on the field.
Crutchfield goes out, so Augustiniak comes in. And that's Scott Durking diving for a first down across the 45 of Miami. A couple other scores. San Francisco takes the early lead at New Orleans, 3-0 on a Ray Wersching field goal. And Benny Ricardo has hit a field goal for Minnesota. They lead Houston 3-0.
We're reminded that Rodell Thomas is not a rookie. He's been around for a while, has not had a great deal of playing time, and really until you've been tested out there on the field, you're still a rookie there.
Well, you remember he came in as a tight end, was a rookie tight end in '81, and then they transferred him to defense. Todd, he wants to go long. Wide open is Harper. And he's down to the Miami 28-yard line. Bruce Harper, 17 yards.
Bruce Harper for the first down.
That's the kind of explosiveness that we had anticipated from Bruce Harper. He does a great job of finding the opening in the defense. Look at him here. Look how open he is in this particular situation. Well-designed play.
And Merlin, to back up your point earlier on the long pass to Jones, you saw Jones running a streak, and that cleared out all that room for Harper, so that even though the pass to Jones didn't work earlier, it set up that play. 25-20, he's down at the 19. Bob Brzezinski makes sure he doesn't go farther, but it's a 9-yard scramble for Todd.
Joe Walton extremely pleased with the way Todd had played last week, in spite of the fact that his team lost in a 10-7 encounter with the Cleveland Browns. Todd, I don't think, has been that happy with his performance this year. Has thrown more interceptions than he would like to throw, and of course last year was the interceptions that really killed him in that big championship game.
That game is less than 5 minutes old, and the Steelers already lead 10-0. Cleveland has never won. The Browns have never won at Three Rivers, and they fall behind 10-0 early today. Well, Todd has to call time. So Richard will go over and talk things over with head coach Joe Walton. The Miami Dolphins lead 7-0, 5:45 remaining first quarter. Of Miami, where it is 2nd and 2. Harper doesn't drop many of those. So outstanding on that particular pattern. The little guy from Kutztown State, Walt Michaels' son, Walt Michaels Jr. Well, Michaels was the head coach here of the Jets. His son was a teammate of Harper and recommended that the Jets take a look at him, and what a find. He proved to be an outstanding scout. Harper has paid many a dividend.
They certainly have never regretted that choice, and had he caught that football, would have had an easy first down. Now they need to pick up the first to keep this drive alive.
Short 2 or long 1. Todd's going to run it out of bounds and has the first down near the 15. Glenn Blackwood was there to make sure that he didn't skip down the sidelines. Jets trying to tie Miami here at Shea. Let's go to NFL 83.
For the first down.
Leave the dressing room. 17-0 Pittsburgh, and they're not even halfway through the first quarter at Three Rivers. Crutchfield to the 10-yard line, and it takes 3 Dolphins to drag him down.
Dick, that's the kind of lateral movement that I mentioned from Crutchfield, a 230-pound back, and he gives you those little sliding moves that are common to much smaller backs. Watch him as he approaches the line. Look at the slide. A little dip right there. Now he'll slide out. Look how he got himself and kept those shoulders square to the line. Well, that's a fine piece of running. Good running by Dwayne Crutchfield.
Here it is again. Have to meet that 235-pounder head on. 2nd and 5. Wesley Walker, and dangerously tipped back into a crowd of Dolphins, but incomplete.
Todd shaking his head, and one of the problems that the Jets have had offensively is that Wesley Walker has had an Achilles problem. He's been limited in practice time and literally has only been able to practice 1 day a week. When you can only throw to your #1 receiver 1 day a week, you are bound to have some problems in timing. I think it has hurt the Jets this year, and had he been able to practice more, I think Wesley probably would have more than 5 touchdowns on the season.
Some confusion in the defense for Miami. A.J. Due is injured. He's on the sidelines. Miami, I think they only have 10 men on the field. Bruce Harper down to the 2-yard line. That'll be 1st and goal for the Jets.
I believe they had enough people on the field. Shula was over asking Arnsparger what in the world is going on here. Chance for you to see it at home now. Good shot of Todd just flipping a little pass outside. Looked like a play similar to the one we'd seen earlier. Alexander, number 60, gets a fine block, but look at Todd look at Harper twisting inside of 2 of those Miami Dolphin defenders to get the extra yardage.
But the confusion continues, Merlin, on the Miami defensive sidelines. The Dolphins had to call time, did not have the right people in there, partially because of all the injuries to the linebackers, and now another. A.J. Due has been shaken up and is not in the game at the moment. Timeout, 4:15 remaining, first quarter. 16th play of this drive, looking for the tying score. They've got it! Mike Augustiniak.
The Jets marched the ball down the field very effectively last week. Got inside the 20 4 times and only managed 1 score. Well, they started it right today. Straight down the field, and it's Augustiniak at the end of this short pass. The Jets electing to throw in what appeared to be a running situation. Augustiniak converts.
Pat Leahy adds the extra point. And just as these 2 teams are tied on the season, 3-3, and just as they are 17-1 in their rivalry, they're even in the first quarter today. Todd to Augustiniak. He had some key yardage early in that long 16-play drive, and he gets the capper to tie it at 7. On the 66-yard touchdown tie game, Fulton Walker, number 41, comes up to get it. He was that Super Bowl star, setting a record for a kickoff return, and he's in the open at the 30, the 50, and out of bounds at the Jets' 47-yard line. Fulton Walker. Kirk Springs made the tackle.
Jets had been doing a good job of holding the kickoff returns down, but Walker showing a great speed here, able to get past a couple of the initial touches right there, one by Rusty Gobo, 94. Now watch him turn it on past Springs here, who was the contained man. Walker just hot-footing it down the sideline until he's driven out of bounds right there.
Walker had that 98-yard Super Bowl kickoff return against the Redskins for a touchdown in the first half.
Big help to start that ball out beyond the 50.
46-yard line. Miami and the Jets are tied at 7. Less than 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Tony Nathan greeted rudely by Mark Gastineau.
We'd had a chance to look at the fine center for the Jets. Now let's go and look at Dwight Stevenson right in the middle of your screen, 57. Blocking back right there, driving on Joe Klecko. Klecko able to get by Stevenson and get a good piece of that tackle. Some good defensive work by Joe Klecko.
Klecko underneath and Gastineau on top, a 1-yard gain. sodded portion of Shea Stadium, part of the infield dirt, and the footing not quite as good.
Well, anytime you have to cut on that sodded portion of the field, you take a chance of losing your foot. You see it right there. Bennett with a big run of 25 yards last week, and the former Jet would like to do well against his ex-teammates. Unable to do it on that play.
3rd down and 7 at the 43. Intended for Duper, and well covered by the Jets' Jerry Holmes. Oh, the Jets showing some emotion.
That's something that's going to please their coach, Joe Walton. Duper slipping down on the outside. We talked about his speed. He's down quickly into the secondary. Rounds the corner off a little bit. But look at that nice play by number 29, Johnny Lynn. Just darted over and knocked that ball away. Jerry Holmes also there to help on the play.
Reggie Roby, he's a story in itself. I don't think there's a more powerful leg in all of football than this man. He can kick it right out of the stadium. Two-step kicker from Iowa. Watch how high he gets it. And that'll be the Jets' ball at the 50-yard line. Darrell Ray blocks the kick. Number 28, Ray.
The book on Roby is that he takes a long time to kick the football. The Jets, bargaining on having some time to get in there, went after his first kick. Now watch Roby. Watch how deliberate he is. He'll take the ball, take his time. He had to adjust to the snap, but look how slow that is. And Darrell Ray just knifing in from the outside, able to slap that football away. Jets get a big break here early. That's his first block, lifetime. But boy, I'll tell you, that's a big play for the Jets special teams.
So tied at 7, the Jets have it at the 50-yard line. Crutchfield. Well, they said that Dwayne Crutchfield wouldn't play much today, but Crutchfield proving them wrong. Apparently, after warm-up and saying they felt some tightness, once put in the game, he's feeling pretty loose. Other scores in the NFL on this brilliant Sunday in the East. Pittsburgh leading 17-0 in the first quarter. New Orleans has San Francisco in front 6-0 in the second, and San Diego has a 7-0 lead at New England. On 2nd and 3, Crutchfield has a first down all the way to the 35-yard line. Raczynski finally made the tackle after another 8-yard gain.
He's ripping it off, and of course that was one of the concerns that Bill Arnsparger had about his team today. They're playing of course, with a revamped linebacking core, and those are the people you count on to stop the running game. Good adjustment by Crutchfield as he's able to get outside. Twilly, the young linebacker that they've had to put in because of the injuries, unable to get him down.
Augustiniak throwing a key block to help Crutchfield. First down at the 35. Crutchfield powering for 6 more. They're running right where A.J. Dewey is not. Dewey injured, and they're really picking on that side of the Miami defense. And a Dolphin is injured on that last play. Boy, if that's a linebacker, Don Shula be ready to eat a helmet. And it looks like a linebacker number. Appears to be Emmett Tilley, number 52. And that is another linebacker. Oh, my.
Well, their problems at linebacking started at the beginning of the year with the tragic death of Larry Gordon, who'd been a starter and big play linebacker. And then they have gone down one after another.
So if that is a serious injury, they don't have enough linebackers in that 3-4 defense. He may have to go to a four-man defensive line for Miami. And Harper on the draw, stopped cold at the 27, 2 yards shy of a first down. Mike Charles, 71, in on the play, along with Charles Bowser.
Charles is the 4th lineman going in.
New England has kicked a field goal to cut San Diego's lead to 7-3 in the second quarter. Houston, as you just heard, Minnesota leading 10-7 in the first. Lions have a 7-0 lead on a Billy Sims touchdown in the first quarter. 6-3 Tampa Bay over St. Louis. They missed an extra point. Here it's 7-all, and that is the end of the first quarter, I believe. Time has run up.
Shot of A.J. Dewey warming up on the sideline. He went into the locker room briefly. I believe they taped up his groin. Looks like he'll be back in the ball game.
The end of the first quarter in sunny Shea Stadium in New York. The Dolphins scored on a 66-yard pass, and the Jets in 2. Todd goes for it all. Intercepted by Judson, who made a beautiful move to take it away from Wesley Walker. William Judson, his second interception of the year, and he made it look easy.
Todd had done a good job in the last couple of seasons of limiting the number of bad throws, the number of interceptions as compared to his touchdowns. But that one hung for a long time, and Judson read the ball very well, cut across in front. Time for Todd to throw the football, but the ball never makes it to Wesley Walker in the end zone.
And we have a timeout just starting this second quarter.
Out of that 73 on one play for the Dolphins.
Time of possession, Jets owning the ball most of the time, but the score is tied at 7. And on the pass interception in the end zone, Marino from his 20 to the tight end Dan Johnson. Well covered. Bobby Jackson playing with that broken finger, making a solid hit after a 2-yard gain. Johnson, the tight end, is tied at 7 at Shea. Let's check 2nd and 8 for the Miami Dolphins. David Overstreet, number 1 pick out of Oklahoma, very near a first down at the 30. Overstreet, who played his first 2 years with Montreal in the Canadian Football League. Schroy made the tackle along with Greg Buttle.
Number 48, Kenny Schroy, man who made that big play on that little screen to the tight end, reading quickly from his safety position, slipping in behind the other defenders, does a good job one-on-one of grabbing David Overstreet's legs. Overstreet with brilliant speed has not given Miami the kind of big play punch that Don Shula had hoped for when they were able to get him back from Canada. You hear Bob Kuchenberg saying, "You want the penalty?" He's loud enough to carry clear up here, Dick.
And Don Shula said, yes, we'll take the 5 yards, save the down. It'll be 2nd down and 2 at the 28-yard line.
Offside, defense, number 50, 2nd down.
Bob Crable, who had moved into the line, was offside. A.J. Dewey, and you can see now the accent after the E. He doesn't want to be A.J. Dewey, it's Dewey.
Now, right now, he'd rather be healthy. Word comes to us he may not play anymore today because of that groin pull.
Franklin straight ahead, very close to the first down at the 30. Buttle leading the defensive charge. Don Shula, will this be his last year in Miami? He has been contacted by the U.S. Football League, New Jersey Generals, a general offer, and Don Shula's words has been made. They're talking big dollars, obviously. Shula in turn and Joe Robbie, owner of the Miami Dolphins, are discussing his staying in Miami. Generally regarded as the one man, if you could go out and pick your coach, I don't think there are many who would argue that you'd like to have Shula. First down, Marino going long, almost intercepted by Darrell Ray. It was intended for Duper. 7-all the score. Miami at its 30. Drive, and a flag is down. Overstreet with a 16-yard run. Will it count?
It appeared there would be a holding penalty on the play, but some great blocking on Bob Crable that time, middle linebacker. They're pinning him down to the inside. He simply was unable to get out. Give you a chance to look at it at home. Crable playing for the injured John Woodring. Woodring, here he is, right in the center of your picture. Now look at Stevenson, the center, out so quickly. Even though Crable is way off the line, Stevenson was able to get out in front of him and cut him off. Now that's great play by the center, but not good play by the linebacker.
Yeah, the play's going to count apparently, or have the officials erred.
There is no foul. It was a running play, so therefore there can be no chop block. It's a first down.
So there was a chop block on a pass play. That's a penalty. On the running play, no penalty. And Don Shula, who traditionally has the least penalized team in the National Football League, and they've been the least penalized again this year, sees that 16-yard gain count. From the 46, Marino. No good. He's out of bounds. Duper at the 42 of New York.
Duper way off to the side on that play. That's something that's going to happen. Duper with his first start last week. Marino with his first start last week. Now they're going to have to throw a lot of footballs back and forth before they get very comfortable. There's the shot by Marino, and Duper just didn't feel that sideline. Took the ball in the air, landing clearly out of bounds, and then getting an argument from the sideline. Unjustified in that case.
Marino with an auspicious debut. 3 touchdowns, 322 yards last week against Buffalo. Guess who? The Jets' first sack, and it's Gastineau.
Gastineau doing his dance after jumping on top of Dan Marino. Marino taking a little too much time on this play, and he'll learn all about that. Gastineau, number 99, will come in on Eric Laxo, number 68, and just bury Marino.
And that gets the crowd fired. 3rd and 12. Complete, but short yardage. Jerry Holmes making the play on Joe Rose. And the Miami punting team comes on, and the Jets cheer the defense.
That's the kind of defense that the Jets have enjoyed over the past couple of seasons, but the early part of this year, they were very, very vulnerable. Now, Reggie Roby had the last one blocked. Let's see what they do here.
10 men on the line of scrimmage. Davlin Mullen is the only deep man. End over end. Mullen at the 13-yard line, and wisely he fair caught the ball, because with that end over end kick it would have bounced toward the goal line, and Miami had someone down there to make sure it didn't go in the end zone.
As we watch Roby's kicking action, short hang time. He's had them in the air as long as 5.5, 6 seconds in practice.
As it figured, 7-all the defenses. We started with that perspective. What's your thoughts now?
Well, certainly some problems for Bill Arnsparger with A.J. Dewey limping. He's really in trouble with those linebackers. Has gone to a 4-man line. He's going to have to make some real adjustments, and that puts some extra coins in Bill Walton's pocket or in Joe Walton's pocket on the other side. And let's see how he tries to take advantage of those weaknesses in Miami's defense.
And the fact that Crutchfield apparently isn't as seriously injured as the Jets had feared. So the Jets lost a scoring opportunity the last time when Todd was intercepted in the end zone. New York starts at its 12-yard line. Down the middle, Jerome Barkham, the tight end. And Barkham caught that one in a crowd at the 46-yard line. 29 yards on the play.
Richard Todd promised us that he would be going deep. He is certainly living up to that part of the bargain. Throws a very pretty strike right down the center, and Barkham, who's made some big plays against the Dolphins over the years, back to catch it.
Number 2 all-time, Jerome Barkham, to Don Maynard in Jets history. Delay now as the Jets come out and the old power I formation. Then they shift. Harper and Durking behind Todd. Wesley Walker had beaten Gerald Small. The pass, Merlin seemed to hang a bit. Small with his speed, able to get back and knock it away. It appeared to be a sure touchdown.
Well, certainly would have been had it been thrown long enough. Gerald Small tends to camp on those 14 to 16 pound or 16-yard patterns, and they were hoping to get him deep. They said, we think we can get deep on Small. Well, they did, but Wesley Walker had to wait for the football, and Gerald able to come back and knock it away. Did a good job of catching up with Walker after the throw.
Well, that's twice Todd has been denied, once on the interception, and on this occasion the man open, he couldn't get it there. Draw play to Harper. And Harper, some clever running, picks up nearly 10 yards as he's at the Miami 44. You're the man to him. Bruce.
Harper just skittering. That's a good call by the Jets as they're taking advantage of Harper's quickness out of the backfield. Obviously, Miami expecting the pass play. We're hit by the quick one on the field. We've got an injury on the field again, but let's look as we're watching the replay of Harper. Pulls out of a tackle there, does a good job. Lyle Blackwood, 42, and Beaucamper. And I believe Beaucamper actually drove Harper for enough yardage for the first down.
The entry again is to number 52, Emmett Tilley, the linebacker, rookie free agent from Duke for the Miami Dolphins. So we have a timeout. Intercepted again. Judson to the 25 and out of bounds at the 29. So William Judson, there'll be a penalty on a late hit as Richard Todd had Walker open again, but could not get the ball deep enough, and Judson has his second interception of this quarter.
Todd just not getting enough velocity on that football. The ball thrown well shot of a very open receiver. Chance to see it. Walker just flat runs by Judson, but watch how short the pass is. Judson there to catch the football, and then the Jets add insult to injury here as they make a late hit out of bounds, and they'll tack on a
As Duper to the left and flank to the right, the veteran Nat Moore. Spins and gives the handoff. Fullback Andra Franklin bowls his way for a couple of yards to about the 47-yard line, where it'll be second down and 8. Jets Marty Lyons and Joe Klecko collaborating on the tackle.
And that's the area in which the Jets had been vulnerable early in this season, the running game, especially up the middle. Klecko and Lyons doing a good job of shutting things off, and of course they'd like to get after Crable a little bit inside. He has not been as effective against the run as he is against the pass. So far they're not being able to take advantage of the game up the middle.
All right, Marino on second down and 8 has Bennett, the fullback, up on a wing. Only Nathan in the backfield with him. Marino rolling back to pass. In trouble, and down he goes at the 40-yard line. The Jets have their second sack. Joe Klecko and Marty Lyons.
Again, Marino taking a great deal of time, but Lyons just lining up on him in the backfield and taking him to the ground. Jets with 16 sacks on the season now, but 7 of those sacks against Buffalo in one game. They're very pleased to get some pressure on the quarterback today.
We apologize. We're still working on our picture, so we'll continue with our radio call. 40-yard line, a loss in the play. Third down and 15. Out of the shotgun, Marino. Marino with a snap, back to throw. Looks, throws to this side. Overshoots Nat Moore at the 48-yard line. Coverage by Johnny Lynn of the Jets. And the Jets punting return team comes in, and Reggie Roby, the punter, in for Miami.
Dick, we just gotten word that Emmett Tilley, injured linebacker, is in the locker room. His shoulder will be put in a harness. They've now got 9 linebackers on the injured line. Oh, I don't know what they're going to do down there for linebackers.
They have only 3 healthy linebackers now for a team that uses 4. They're going to have to go to a whole new defensive set. The snap to Roby is low. He hits a wobbly boot to the near side. Lands out of bounds at about the 18-yard line. Yes, at the 18 they mark it. So the Jets will take over at that spot when we return. Timeout, 8 minutes, 15 seconds. And the celebration is with a touchdown by Kim Beaucamper. Watch 58 Beaucamper, who will get the deflection of Richard Todd's pass.
The ball is deflected by Doug Benner's big number 75, and shades of the Super Bowl last year when Beaucamper had his hands on one against Washington, and it was stripped out of his hands by the quarterback. They didn't get to him that time. He waltzed into the end zone. Fine play, and that's a tremendous play, Dick.
Third interception of Todd. It's 13-7 Miami. Von Schamann to try the extra point. continue. While you were away watching Pittsburgh and Cleveland, Von Schamann missed a 37-yard field goal. He's in a slump. He has not kicked a field goal in 4 games plus this one, and now has an extra point blocked by Ben Rudolph, number 76.
Here's that miss on the field goal, Dick, and Von Schamann just banged it off to the right. Missed 2 in the overtime last week, 1 to the right, 1 to the left, and you see his head go down. But like the golfers who make a bad shot, you've just got to put it behind you. Apparently Von Schamann not able to do that, comes right back and misses an extra point.
Well, Merlin, while we were having our technical difficulties, let's just review what did happen. There was no significant play until the Jets punting to Miami. Chuck Ramsey had his punt blocked by Eddie Hill, and Miami took over at the 28. Could not move the ball, so Von Schamann tried the 37-yard field goal, was wide to the right. Then the Jets took over at the 20 after the missed field goal, and you saw the key play as Betters made the play with a deflected pass right into the arms of Bo Camper. Bo Camper with a touchdown. Now the blocked extra point, and you're up to date at 13-7.
And perhaps the most significant development on the field, the injuries to the linebackers for Miami. Bill Arnsparger came in already with linebacking trouble. Dewey is out with a pulled groin. He's had Tilly on the sideline with an injury. Brown has been injured. They're really short. They've gone to a 4-man line. They're not able to play their normal defensive scheme. We're going to watch them try and adjust and try and hang on to this 6-point lead.
2 minutes and 56 seconds left in the half. Miami with a 13-7 lead. Kick is to Kirk Springs at the 5. Springs to the 30. And finally wrestled out of bounds at, they say, the 29-yard line. He stepped out. Steve Clark made the tackle for Miami. Let's go back. You don't see many plays like this one. Bo Camper, a gift touchdown.
And of course, half of the game is luck as well as skill. The skill right there as Betters gets pressure and goes up and bats it away. Bo Camper in the right place at the right time, and the payoff is there in the end zone.
In a way, it seems so unfair. Really, the credit should go all to Betters. He made the play, but all you'll read about is Bo Camper with a touchdown. But those things even out on a good team. You're just as happy that somebody in the right uniform got the score. Meanwhile, the Jets offense is sputtering primarily because Richard Todd has not had a good first half. There have been the opportunities, but Todd has been intercepted 3 times.
Almost reminiscent of last week's game against Cleveland, where they moved it so well, could not score.
2:25 left. That ball not near a green shirt as Todd was being pressured by Kim Bocamper.
You can't blame Todd for one like that. There just wasn't time for him to get that football off. And look at the numbers for Todd. 8 completions, 20 attempts, 99 yards, 1 TD, but the biggest number on the board, 3 interceptions.
And 2 of those interceptions, he had a man open in the end zone, couldn't hit him. The other became a touchdown for Miami. That's a 21-point difference. 2:23 left in the half. 3rd down and 8. And he's in trouble again. Complete to Barkham, but that pass won't count. There's going to be holding on the Jets. One of the Dolphin defenders was coming in on Todd, and a Jet player just tackled him.
Chris Ward trying to talk to the officials there. There were 2 flags thrown by the officials, and obviously someone detected putting the clamps on, and they begin the walk-off there. Of course, the Dolphins will take the penalty, not wishing to see that completion stand.
Yeah, the liberal rules that provide the offensive lineman with more technique than ever before, but you can't tackle a man.
Offense, number 72, 3rd down.
Now Chris Ward stopped his man, that's for certain. That was one of the better tackles of the game. 13-7. Miami leads.
Jets trying to take advantage, as we said, of a wounded defense, but so far Miami adjusting well.
3rd down and 19. Oh, dangerously close to another interception as Walker had no less than 5 Miami defenders around him. As you said, Merlin, they're going to take Walker out of the Jets offense if they can.
Joe Walton talked to Todd and has talked to him repeatedly about putting the bad plays behind him. He said one of the things that Todd has had difficulty doing is coming back from an interception, coming back from a bad game, and he really thought he was getting him to the point where he could do that. Todd's going to have to do that in this game if the Jets are going to get back into it.
Chuck Ramsey Only the second time in his career with the Jets he had a punt block the last time. And 10 men on the line of scrimmage for Miami. Mark Clayton is deep. And that block punt will shake a man. It's a very short kick. Oh, as Clayton hit at the 46, a dangerous return try by the rookie Clayton, and he was hammered by Kirk Springs.
21 down quickly, and that's a dangerous play, but I think they felt that they were on the sideline with it. Watch Clayton come up. The ball bounces. He takes it cleanly, and the smack right there. I don't know whether he was good. Well, he did hang on to that football. That's good concentration, but bad judgment.
The Dolphins, because of their defense and Todd unable to, in the hurry-up offense, move the football, Miami now is presented with a nice package. They have over 2 minutes left in the half. Good field position at their own 46. That was a 34-yard punt. Leading 13-7. Dan Marino at the controls, the young quarterback. Screen, Woody Bennett, 45, and down at the 48-yard line. Ken Schroy and Bob Crable on the tackle, and the 2-minute warning is given at 1 minute 54 seconds. 1:54 left in the half. Miami near midfield trying to add to its 13 54 seconds left in this first half. It's been a confusing half and a puzzling season for Joe Walton and his New York Jets, one of the preseason favorites to make it to the Super Bowl. Both these clubs 3-3. A most important game to win, and one you can't really afford to lose. 13-7 Dolphins. Marino on the roll. And out of bounds at the Jets' 49-yard line. Gain of a couple for Marino. He is much bigger than I had thought, Merlin.
He is a big horse, and he's a fine athlete as well.
Other scores. Pittsburgh, as you saw with that last touchdown, leading Cleveland 27-10. Bringing you up to date, New Orleans has a 7-point lead against San Francisco. That's a most important game in the NFC West. San Diego builds its lead at New England at 21-10. These are all second quarter scores. Minnesota has a 27 lead against Houston. Detroit 14-3 at home against Chicago. St. Louis 13, Tampa Bay 6 in the second quarter. No score yet. Buffalo and Baltimore. 3rd and 5. Gastineau. That'll be an incomplete pass, not a fumble. Joe Klecko, oh, his eyes had to be big when he saw that ball downfield. Marino hit by Gastineau just as he delivered the pass. Incomplete. And now the Jets will have time. 1:44 left in the half.
And one of the lessons that Dan Marino will have to learn is that there's only so much time back there. He's got to find the receiver, get the ball off. Taking a little too much. Gastineau throwing Laxo away. And a wise move by Marino. Followed through with that hand. Even though it hit his own man there on the line, they call it an incomplete pass.
Hit Ed Newman right in the helmet. Newman must have been wondering what's happening here. Here's Roby. He's had a punt block. Just flattens the ball. He hits it so hard. And the rookie Davlin Mullen from Western Kentucky, as the Dolphins ran by him, Mullen returns it out across the 20 to the 21. Just a 32-yard punt by Roby. He's not happy.
And you hear a lot of unhappy fans here in Shea Stadium as they welcome the Jets offensive team onto the field. Jets would welcome a little offense here, wouldn't they, Dick?
Indeed they would. Todd has not had a good half. Now we have a good schedule for you next week. A doubleheader: Cleveland, Cincinnati, New England, Buffalo, Kansas City, Houston. These are the early games. 12:30 for NFL 83. Also Miami at Baltimore at 1:30. And we'll show you those West Coast games in a moment. Todd, incomplete to Scott Durking.
For Scott Durking.
We have two outstanding late games next week. Merlin and I will be up in Seattle for the Steelers and the Seahawks, and the high-powered Chargers against the defensive-minded Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium. That's a doubleheader here on NBC next week.
Todd still having trouble. That short pass to Durking, the kind that they have practiced so often, just misconnects. Durking took the ball a little bit behind him, bounced it in the air. Todd's timing is not on today, Dick.
1 minute 27 seconds left in the half. Doug Betters, that is his second sack of the game, his 10th of the year, and for the moment, Doug Betters, the 6-year veteran from Nevada Reno, is leading the NFL in sacks with 10.
Todd hurries up on the play. He's got it snapped again.
On 3rd and long, he goes short to Durking. 25-30. He'll be short of the first down by a yard. Bob Brzezinski made the tackle, and timeout is called with 1 minute and 3 seconds left in the half.
Miami wants the timeout. They may want a chance to block another of Ramsey's kicks.
Reminder, this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Jets and the National Football League is prohibited. 4th down and 1. They've not changed the yard marker yet.
Now it's still, there it goes. Now they're sending the kicking team onto the field. I wonder why the offense was staying out there.
So with 1:03 left, Miami will get another chance, and Walton is scuffing the dirt. He's unhappy.
He certainly is unhappy, and rightfully so. He publicly came out, was a little hard on his team. In fact, the hardest criticism we've seen so far. And one of the questions you have to ask about a man who is basically as pleasant and as well disciplined as a Joe Walton, is he mean enough to get a team that is not playing well and grab them by the shoulder and shake them and get them back into the game? He has to prove that.
Clayton is inside the 30. Ramsey had a punt blocked and also a short punt. Hits this one beautifully. Clayton at his 20. 30. 33, and Rusty Gilbo coming downfield threw quite a hit on Clayton. 50-yard punt, 13-yard return. One of the questions I'd like you to answer, Merlin, they say that the 2 toughest cities to play in pro football are New York and Los Angeles. You played in one. The big city environment, all the publicity, all the attention that the athlete gets, and that the teams like the Green Bays, the smaller town teams where there are less distractions, actually that's a better football town for a coach. A coach has more control of his players. I'd like you to deal with that after this play. 33-yard line. Time remaining 52 seconds for Marino out of the shotgun. Complete to Nathan, and Tony Nathan is all the way to midfield.
That's the kind of big plays that we mentioned that Tony Nathan was capable of, and Marino will come right back with no huddle, without a huddle, to see if he can get more yardage.
34 seconds, 33. Incomplete, and Marino is kissed pretty hard as he delivers that ball. Clock stops at 29 seconds.
Dick, in answer to your question, no question in my mind that it's very difficult for a coach and for players in a big city where there are so many pressures on them. Media pressures, so many other kinds of things happening, to take their time and take their interest. This town in particular, at practice they may have as many as 40 reporters, and they want to talk to everybody, and they really can't put the squeeze on you in a hurry. In a town like Green Bay, a coach often will control the press to a great degree, and he'll have the newspaper men by the ear, and he'll say, don't print this story, I don't want it in. You can't do that in a city like New York City. And there's no question that there's a great deal more pressure on the coaches, on a Joe Walton, just in a matter of time. How much time does he have to spend with reporters and with the media? A real drain on his energy and time as well.
Marino, Jets were offside on the last play. Is it a catch? Yes, at the 32-yard line with 24 seconds remaining. Mark Duper with the reception.
Duper, the deep man we mentioned last week, over 200 yards, 2 TDs. Marino really has a gun. Look how quick he gets this ball to the receiver. Good pass. Duper able to get his feet down inbounds. We saw him drop them out of bounds on a play similar to that earlier.
Super duper. He's got great speed. He anchored the NCAA Sprint Relay Championship team. Joe Delaney, the late running back with the Kansas City Chiefs, was on that 4x100 Sprint Relay team. Open, but overpowered was David Overstreet. And what burned his hands.
Overstreet not happy about that one, and he has not really had many chances to produce for Miami. Of course, went to Canada, played there after being a first draft pick for the Dolphins. Von Schamann hoping that he gets a chance to break that very bad streak he's in. He's a fine young man. Very frustrating for a kicker. You talk about being naked. They go out there all alone. I'm glad I didn't have that responsibility. Second down play with 16 seconds left in the half.
Overstreet played with flags down. Overstreet is inside the 25 of the Jets. And we'll check the penalty flag as the clock stops with 12 seconds showing.
Kenny Neal, number 77, had jumped off sides, and I think they'll take the play rather. Well, they may not, because it would be a third down coming up. Let's see what Don Shula elects to do here.
Eddie Murray has kicked a field goal for the Lions. They lead the Bears now 17-3, and Pittsburgh has scored again, stout to Sweeney, and the Steelers lead the Browns 34-10.
Dick, in the middle of that line for the Dolphins, when they go into a shotgun, they bring in a new center, Mark Dennard, and Dennard snaps exclusively on the shotgun formation, but they don't take their other center, Dwight Stevenson, out of the game. They move him over to guard, take Kuchenberg out. Stevenson a little better pass protector than the old veteran Kuchenberg.
One of the great Enbergs.
One of the great Enbergs. And one of the great players, too. Shula exhorting his troops. He would like to get some more points on that board.
Offside defense, number 77, decline. Third down.
Okay, takes the gain, gives up the down. Interesting call. Interesting call.
Yeah, he figures with only 12 seconds left that the downs aren't going to matter anyway. He's only really got one more down, plus either a field goal try or go for it all. Inside the 25. Out of the shotgun, Marino trying to add to the 13-7 Miami lead. Down the middle, Rose, touchdown! Joe Rose. And that was a 30-yard bullet. That ball was 5 feet off the ground, right to number 80, right to the 2 numerals.
Shades of some of the strong-arm quarterbacks we've seen come into the league. A la Terry Bradshaw, Roman Gabriel, and Marino throws a hot strike down the middle. Second touchdown of the ball game. Marino without an interception in this game has had a fine ball game, Dick.
Stop the hold.
So Marino with his second touchdown pass, he hit the veteran Nat Moore 66 yards. That one was good for 24. Von Schaman had his last extra point try blocked. And hits that one cleanly. But for the Miami Dolphins, just 7 seconds before halftime, they have opened the lead to 20-7.
Marino with 8 touchdowns now on the season and only 3 interceptions. That's a fine ratio for the young man, and you expect these rookies to make mistakes. Not a mistake here. Boy, he zipped that past the linebacker right into the hands of Joe Rose.
That's a good point, Merlin. If you were to say, okay, you've got a good rookie, but that's what he is, a first-year man starting, and here are the numbers, 3 and 8. Which one do you think is interception? Which one touchdown? Normally, it's 3 touchdowns, Walton. And of course, we'll have all the scores and highlights of early action today on NFL 83. So stay with us. We have 4 seconds to go. That is not the end of the first half. We still have 4 seconds left. And the Jets with a final play.
Joe Walton, I'm sure, extremely frustrated at the performance of his troops, and he said it. He said, I just don't understand. Some weeks we practice well, we play poorly. Other weeks, practice poorly and play well. I don't understand this team.
Here's that triple right where they'll send everyone deep down one side and hope for a deflection. Todd stepping up and gunning it deep. And it's another interception, I believe, for the same man, William Judson. Yes, the hat trick for Judson. 3 interceptions in this first half, and with that, the first half comes to a close, and the Jets here booze as they leave the field.
Against Miami, some kind of illegal block on the play or illegal use of hands, and that's a good, perhaps a good omen for the Jets. Miami not penalized very often. Shula proud of the fact that his team goes on the field, does not make too many mistakes, rarely beat themselves, although they've done some of that this year. This has not been a great year for Shula's teams.
Illegal use of the hands, number 76 on the return. First down.
Steve Clark, the man ticketed for the foul.
So Miami will start just across its 17-yard line. Impressive rookie Dan Marino. Andra Franklin caught in the backfield by Neal, and there's plenty of Jet support. Mel and Troy, Marty Lyons all in on the play.
Dolphins employing 2 tight ends sent Bruce Hardy, number 84, into the game, and Hardy, suffering from damaged ribs, was expected to block on the line, make some room for Franklin, missed his block, and that was one of the reasons that play was shut down so quickly.
Woody Bennett, number 34, late getting into the huddle to give the play to Dan Marino as Franklin comes out. Second down, 11. Open is Joe Rose, who caught the touchdown just before the end of the first half. Rose short yardage out to about the 23-yard line, a 6-yard play. Other scores at the half: Steelers a big lead against the Browns. San Francisco trailing New Orleans 13-9 in the third. 21-10 San Diego's lead in the third quarter at New England. 20-7 the Vikings over the Oilers in the third quarter. Chicago scoring just before the half to cut Detroit's lead to 17-10. St. Louis has opened a big lead against Tampa Bay, and it's 14-7 now. Buffalo leading Baltimore in the battle for first place. Third, and that's that little shovel pass to Nathan, and Tony Nathan's all the way to the 42-yard line. So off the shotgun, one running play that has worked, and I guess the Cowboys were the first to use it effectively, that little shovel pass to the up back.
Boy, this play is a killer. Look at the little drop right in there, allowing Gastineau to come up inside. A great play as he just shifts inside and leaves Buttle laying on the ground away from Kenny Schroy there. Finally tackled on the far side by Marty Lyons and Jerry Holmes. But Nathan exploding on that play. That's the kind of versatility and explosion that Shula wants to see out of Tony Nathan.
Interestingly, Lyons tackling Nathan. They were teammates at Alabama. Nathan was in Marty Lyons' wedding. Close friends. Mark Gastineau, and there are very few quarterbacks that can stay ahead of Gastineau when he's tracking you down. And Marino showing he has more than just a strong arm. He has the presence of mind to get away from Gastineau and duck out of bounds.
Well, he's had some opportunities to get the explanation on that from Don Strock and also from Woodley. And they explained to him that you stay a lot healthier if you don't try and go head-to-head with those defensive players. You see there's no room, get yourself out of bounds.
Marino, a +5, touchdowns over interceptions. That last play recorded as a sack. It's second and a long 10. Over the middle, complete for short yardage at the 45. And Joe Rose pays the price as Mel and Crable make the hit.
That's the kind of play that when you sit down with your quarterback on Monday, you say, please, don't throw me anymore like that one. He stretched him out right into the defense, and Rose really took some whacks. Lucky to hang on to the football.
Dan Marino, one touchdown. That was the opening score of the game, a 66-yard pass play to veteran Nat Moore. Duper left, Moore right. On 3rd and 7. What a throw again. It's incomplete at the 40 of the Jets to Duper. But again, Marino just pinpointing that through the Jets defense and with plenty on it.
Shula shaking his head. Marino not yet able to read the defenses as well as he has, or as well as he'll be able to, but so strong that he can wait for the receiver to break and come open and still get the football to him. Face mask there by one of the Jet defenders, not detected by the officials. Head snapping around. Jets lucky they didn't get a call there.
Roby has had one block that does not figure in those statistics. Davlin Mullen is back deep. Oh, there's the Roby kick.
Clip.
Mullen tackled immediately at the 15-yard line. And when Roby, in the lexicon of the game, when he hangs one up there, he really lets it hang. It seems like it's never going to come down. That was 39 yards, and there is a penalty on the play against Miami, ineligible man downfield, so they'll have to do it over again.
Well, there was an obvious clip on the play, too. That might be what they call the flag thrown extremely late. You could see the clip from here, Dick, and I wondered why it wasn't called. Flag came in late. Maybe they did call it. penalty is going to go against the Jets. Jets already pinned down on this one. Well, wait a minute.
I think they're going to be nullifying penalties.
Yeah, they go back and kick it again then.
Whoops. This way.
Well,
76, illegal man downfield on the kicking time. Illegal block on the return.
There
On
was
the
the
receiving team. We will play that over.
Rusty Gilboa on the clip, and the punter Reggie Roby gets another chance to kick it away.
From the rim of Shea Stadium, 60,000 on a magnificent fall afternoon. Roby will try it again. Mullen, fair catch. Takes a little Miami bounce down to the 17-yard line. So the Jets trailing 20-7 have the football for the first time in the second half. 39-yard kick. Merlin Olsen at Shea Stadium early in the third quarter. Jets first possession. They trail Miami 20-7. Ball at the 17. Dwayne Crutchfield to the 21-yard line. Checking other action in the NFL in the first half of play today. San Francisco narrowing New Orleans' advantage to 13-12 in the third quarter on a field goal by Wershing, his third of the game. New England has kicked the field goal. Stein for 22 yards, 21-13 San Diego. Crutchfield again. He's hauled down on a solid tackle. Number 59, Bob Brudzinski, always tough against the run, a former All-American at Ohio State.
Two big plays by Brudzinski. Of course, Bill Arnsparger, defensive coordinator, Miami Dolphins, Shula's assistant head coach for so long, has really had his hands full today with all the injuries, has been forced to play a four-man line, has probably had to throw out 80 to 90% of his game plan. He's got Mike Kozlowski in there. Kozlowski been forced into a linebacking position as a normal defensive back.
Third down and 4. And Todd is down at the 12-yard line. Charles Bowser, second-year linebacker from Duke, number 56 with the sack, and the Jets will have to kick. We're going to send it to NFL 83.
Thank you, Dick Enberg. Nice to have it. In Minnesota, Gifford Nielsen for Houston. He'll find Chris Dressel, a rookie from Stanford who caught him from Elway last year, goes 35 yards, and Benny Ricardo missed his first field goal, so Houston's within 6. Back to you, Dick.
Yeah, the Oilers with a new coach looking for their first win in 2 seasons. Ramsey from his own end zone. Low kick. Clayton comes up to the 48 of the Jets. Got through the entire Jet wall. He's to the 36-yard line on a short 35-yard punt and a gamey 12-yard return by Clayton.
No hang time on this punt. Gives the receiver a chance to do something with it. And Clayton showing us some great courage as he sifted his way through. Watch him just duck his head.
Kelly told us yesterday he's never been happier. He still has a great love for this game and energy for it. Dan Marino. The mark, looking for Mark Clayton, number 83. Bobby Jackson thought he had a chance at an interception, and he may have injured that hand of his. No, it's an ankle.
It looked like he banged a leg as he tried to go up for that football, but that ball thrown away, I think. Marino deciding to unload it. But certainly either that or just got away from him. Nowhere near the receiver.
Let's pause briefly for station identification from New York. This is the NBC Television Network. Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg at Shea Stadium, New York. Third quarter, Dan Marino of Miami trying to hit Tony Nathan, but under pressure from Mark Gastineau and Joe Klecko, Marino offline on his throw. The Dolphins using 4 first-half interceptions, 1 for a touchdown on a deflection to linebacker or defensive end Kim Bokamper, lead 20-7. It's Miami's ball, 3rd and 10 at the Jets' 36-yard line with 9:35 left in the 3rd quarter.
I'm a little surprised that Shula is still throwing the football here. I would have thought with that kind of lead that he might be trying to eat some up on the ground, establish some control on that football.
Over the middle, complete. Duriel Harris to the 20-yard line. Well, he's been in Shula's doghouse, but that'll help him claw his way out. It's a first down on a 16-yard play, and Marino led him perfectly.
Duriel has been in Shula's doghouse. A chance for you to watch Duriel Harris coming in from the outside. Now, here's Duriel way out on the outside. Watch him as he'll start inside, drift across. You get a chance to see him in action here. Whoops, we had him spotted in the wrong place. He was on the inside. There he is, right there. Got him 1 slot too far out, but Harris did a good job of breaking clear on that.
You weren't the only man who didn't cover him.
That's right.
It's first down at the 20. And nothing there for Andre Franklin. The Jets indeed have stopped Franklin and Miami's running game inside. That was Bob Crable, 50, the linebacker from Notre Dame, making the first hit. Jensen is in at wide receiver. This is David Overstreet inside the 20 to about the 17. A gain of 3, bringing up 3rd and 7. Greg Buttle with a tackle. Buffalo. Ferguson had that big game against Miami last week. Comes right back with 3 touchdown passes first half today.
Talking to the Miami defense, they were terribly impressed. They said that Ferguson threw some passes last week that were so perfect that even with receivers covered, there was no way that they could keep them from pulling them down. And certainly appears to be back on track again this week.
Tampa Bay making a comeback, have cut into St. Louis's lead. The Cardinals 27-20 against the Bucks. 3rd and 7 for Marino. And he threw that one away. Looking for Clayton, who was well blanketed by Bobby Jackson. Here comes Uwe von Schamann. Von Schamann had kicked 6 in a row, and then has not made a field goal in the last 4.5 games, including today. He's missed his last 5. He missed, for him, a relatively easy 37-yarder wide to the right, his only attempt today, and he's also had an extra point block. So he has to be thinking. There's no wind to worry about. That flag is still in the direction in which he's kicking. This one will be 35 yards. Everyone in Miami feel better, but most of all, number 5.
You see him taking congratulations from some of his teammates. Believe me, you want that field goal kicker to be in good spirits. You want him to have his head on straight. Von Schamann puts it between the uprights.
And to beat out Garo Yepremian for the Dolphins' place kicking chores. Von Schamann kicking deep. Preston Brown up to the 5, 15, 25. Down at the 27-yard line. Tackle made by Robert Sowell, rookie from Howard University. 22-yard return. There's Ken O'Brien. He was a #1 draft pick, first selection for the New York Jets, one of 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round in the last draft. And O'Brien was selected, as you can see. This is in order. Elway, Blackledge, Kelly will play in the USFL, Eason, O'Brien, and then Marino. Marino, the 6th quarterback selected. And Miami may have gotten the best of the lot. Shula would argue that point for you at this stage.
Shula may not have to do that.
Wesley Walker right through his mitts. Incomplete.
Todd's numbers do not reflect the number of drop balls that he's had, and he's had quite a few. He had a lot of them in Cleveland last week, and Wesley Walker, not the kind of receiver who will normally drop that kind of pass. But I think what happens in a game where you get behind, everybody wants to start to do a little too much. I think Walker probably thinking, can I get this ball and go for a big gain or running it, instead of getting the ball in his hands and then taking off.
Todd with only a 36% completion mark today. 2nd and 10. That's going to be intercepted. Gerald Small, and he laterals. This looks like a California play. One of Joe Kapp designed that. And finally down at the 27 by Mike Augustiniak. Todd royally booed off the field. That was his 5th pass intercepted today.
And that number 5, a black number for Richard Todd. That's the same number of interceptions that Miami forced him into in the playoff game last year. 5 big interceptions, a chance to look from high up on top of the stadium, and Todd expecting the receiver to drive inside. Instead, it's Gerald Small, number 48, who slips inside, takes it easily, and then drops it back to Lyle Blackwood right there.
And the fans trying to help the Jets defense. Marino takes over at the New York 27. And they don't get much with the power game to the 26 goes on for Franklin. Is Walton going to make a change? Shula has made changes not only in this game but in the last several years. Will Walton change?
Well, he's going to have to think about it with Richard Todd having this kind of day. I don't think his history would not indicate it. I think he'll stay with Todd and expect Todd to pull himself out of this slump and get back on track.
Backup quarterback Ryan is warming up on the far side. 2nd and 9. Marino going deep. Touchdown! No, he did not come down with the ball. He had it but did not get both feet down. Mark Clayton on a perfect throw by Marino, and doesn't that impress you? Here's a guy with a rifle arm, and then he floats one out there perfectly as well.
Clayton at the top of your screen. Now Marino had that ball in the air just after the break. Watch it here as he goes up. He has the football. He's got to come down with both feet, and with control of that football, the official right there on top said no way. Hard for us to see from here.
It was screened. Apparently he was juggling the ball, did not have it in his grasp because it appeared otherwise that might have been a score. Jackson, enough pressure to deny the score.
Boy, that's hard though when they're throwing a timing pattern like that, and it's well thrown. Even Dick, even if Ryan were to come into this game, I think again next week you'd see Todd back to be the quarterback for the Jets.
Here's Marino looking over the defense and showing that he has not only the strength but the touch.
That's a finesse pass, and he put it right on the mark.
Can't throw any better than that. That takes home all the Cupid dolls. Watch out on the carnival if you see Dan Marino strolling down the avenue. We have a timeout. 6:05 left in the 3rd quarter. This year, is he about to come in?
Well, it would appear that someone has been talking to him, telling him to warm up.
Didn't play last year in the strike-shortened season. Has not played it down this year. Meanwhile, Miami trying to add to its 23-7 lead. This is 3rd down and 9. Marino has a man. Duriel Harris out of bounds at the 4-yard line. And again, Marino, tremendous accuracy. Sounding like his PR agent, but I haven't seen a young man play any better than Marino has today in a long time.
Interesting, he throws this football off his back foot, kind of off balance. Look how he throws, kind of dropping back on that. Look how he's kind of sliding back with the pressure. Still strong enough to put that football right on target. Gets into the hands of Duriel Harris on the sideline.
So Harris with a couple of key catches here in the 3rd quarter, and with less than 6 minutes left, Miami in position. They score here.
They may be able to put it out of reach.
Yep. Then it doesn't matter quite so much. That's when you can bring in your backup quarterback. Well, that's one thing the Jets have done very well today. They have stopped the Miami running game cold. Woody Bennett gets little, if nothing, might have lost a yard. Lance Mell in on the tackle. Boyce Green has just scored for Cleveland to cut Pittsburgh's lead at 34-17. Dwight Hicks of the 49ers of 62-yard interception for a touchdown, and San Francisco opens a 22-13 lead at New Orleans. Gary Danielson to Ulysses Norris for the Lions, and Detroit leads Chicago 24-10. It appears the Lions starting to put things back together. Here it's 23-7 Miami. 2nd and goal. Marino, touchdown, another great throw, this time to Dan Johnson, the tight end. His 3rd touchdown catch of the year, and Marino has been flawless.
And you begin to feel the frustration of the Jets. Darrell Ray, number 28, after the play was over, absolutely kicking the end marker out of its place on the ground. Let's take another close look at Marino. Again, throwing off balance and throwing on the way back. That'll get him in trouble eventually. And Darrell Ray, we didn't see him there, just walked over and kicked that marker right up out of the ground. Dan Johnson, a better blocker than a receiver, but certainly did a good job on that play.
Von Chaman's try for point out of Strock's hold is good. So Dan Marino, his first NFL start last week, Buffalo, 3 touchdown passes. He comes back at New York, his first start on the road in the NFL. He has 3 more touchdown scores and no interceptions. Change of venue. Meanwhile, it's all Miami. 30-7. Brown to the 11-yard line, maybe the 12. Well covered. The rookie Soul has another tackle, and we have a flag down. Here's a sampling of some of the reaction to the Jets' move away from New York to New Jersey. As you see the signal holding.
We're trying to see whether they've made a quarterbacking change. They have indeed.
Hear the cheer, the hysterectomy. Yes, the removal of his team to another place.
Well, Joe Walton has perhaps removed his quarterback, so he won't have to suffer anymore today. Game virtually out of reach for the Jets at this point. And sometimes, Dick, a change of quarterbacks can get a team fired and also lead to a little lapse on the defensive side.
Ryan, an 11th round draft pick by the Jets in '78 out of the University of Tennessee. Comes out throwing from his own end zone, and he hits Jerome Barkham. 12-yard line. Barkham down immediately by Rodell Thomas.
I think perhaps the bitterest pill for Walton and for these Jets to handle in today's game is that they're dealing with a wounded defense. Bill Arnsparger's defense, with all the linebacking problems, they've had to go to a 4-man front. They've had to play a defensive back and linebacker. And yet, the Jets' offense has really stopped itself repeatedly during the day.
Harper and Durking in the pattern. And again, it's Barkham right over the middle, out to the 17-yard line. A couple of safe passes to his tight end. And that'll be good for a first down. Pittsburgh still leading Cleveland 34-17 as they battle for first place. San Francisco opens its lead at New Orleans now in the 4th quarter. San Diego, same score as halftime, 3rd quarter at New England. Minnesota hanging on to a 6-point lead against Houston in the 3rd. Detroit opens to 24-10 against the Bears in Pontiac. St. Louis 27-20 against Tampa Bay in the 4th quarter. Buffalo a 21-7 lead. That's for first place in the AFC East. Ryan hit and fights back to the 15-yard line. But the sack, Mike Charles, a 2nd-round draft pick from Syracuse, 6'4", 283, the heaviest man on this Miami team.
4th sack of the day. Brzezinski, the man who initially missed him. They're blitzing from the outside. Brzezinski goes through and literally spins Ryan around. Ryan gets away from that one, but does not get away from big Mike Charles.
Ball at the 15, so it'll be 2nd down, 13. 7-all after the 1st quarter, and it's been all Miami since. Bruce Harper, not much running room, gets across the 20-yard line. Brzezinski was there along with Betters and Kozlowski. Those of you who weren't with us earlier, the reason why Bill Arnsparger and Shula have had to work some miracles defensively today, they came very shy of healthy linebackers, and right off the bat in the 1st quarter lost one of their better players, A.J. Douay. And then one of the rookie replacements, Emmett Tilley, was injured. Mark Brown was already hurt, couldn't play. That left Miami with only 3 linebackers, so he's had to go to a whole new defensive set.
He's got Kozlowski in there, an outside linebacker now.
And he's blitzing on this play. Harper incomplete. Well covered by Brzezinski. So that brings up 4th down and the punting team in for the Jets.
Dick, I think it's worth noting that one of the reasons that Shula and his staff have been so successful over the years is their ability to adjust to different personnel, the different team strengths. And certainly they have proved it again today as they've adjusted to real problems defensively and still managed to hammer on the Jets.
I was going to ask you, why is Shula so successful? Obviously, that's one of the reasons.
That's part of it right there. I've got some more thoughts on that.
Ramsey's kick. Dying spiral, fair catch. Kozlowski at the Miami 46. The Dolphins have the lead and good field position again. All right, we're not going to take a commercial here with 2:33 left in the third quarter. What are some of the other reasons that Shula has dominated?
He's been able to do something very special, and that is to maintain his credibility with his players over a long period of time. Don Shula has a great deal of integrity, and it's obvious to the people he deals with that he will be honest with them, he'll be straightforward with them, but he expects a great deal out of them. And you can see his winning percentage, which is .695, almost 70%, number one of active coaches, and he's a couple of games behind Landry in the actual wins in lifetime total.
There's a fumble, and the Jets have the football. A missed handoff, and there's the first mistake by Marino. One was fumbling the ball, and second was to try to go in and fight for it, and he got pushed out of there in a hurry. Joe Klecko pounced on the ball, and the Jets get their first break of the game.
Klecko's 30th birthday yesterday. This is a late present. He would like to have had this a couple of hours ago in the early going in this game. Klecko in very, very quickly, actually disrupted that handoff, and then able to get back and put himself on top of that football. Good play. Let's see if perhaps Ryan and the Jets offense can get something going. They've been asleep most of the day.
Well, this is the first time they've started a possession other than that blocked punt on the Miami half of the field. Dolphins in control. The Jets with a chance to at least get the fans back in the game. Gaffney in motion. Marion Barber and the former University of Minnesota star plows for about 10 yards. He has the Golden Gopher career rushing record over 3,000 yards. Marion Barber had not carried the football this year.
That's his first time out. Not a bad average, 10 yards a carry.
They mark it as a first down for Barber. He's 6'3" and 224. Good
Barber
blocking.
breaking to the outside, almost lost his footing. That area has been sodded, as we'd indicated before, pulling a couple of defenders with him as he lunges for the first down.
From the 33. Good throw and a good catch by Lamb Jones. His feet had slipped, and he actually caught that ball falling down in front of Judson. Checking a score, Minnesota, Ted Brown, a 4-yard run, and the Vikings lead 27-14 early in the fourth quarter.
Lamb Jones has never really lived up to the kind of promise he came with. Great speed, but does not have the real tenacity, the courage you like to see in your receivers going inside. But let's give him credit. A good job of handling that football. His feet out from underneath him. 2nd and 1.
1 minute left, third quarter. Bruce Harper, and he is out of bounds with a first down at the Miami 20. Well, you talk about Lamb Jones, Merlin. You could put together a pretty good NFL sprint relay team. Mark Duper was a world-class sprinter. Of course, Lamb Jones, a gold medal winner in '76 on the sprint relay. I think, well, you could put Ronaldo Nehemiah, the San Francisco 49ers,
he can run.
Also on that team. Got two right here, and Duper and Lamb Jones. And, oh, well, how about Willie Gault? He has to run that leg on the backside. He showed you can do that.
Gault wouldn't do a bad job.
A pretty good team.
I wouldn't want to try and catch him.
Ryan, good throw. Wesley Walker. No, Ryan has used the short pass effectively. And the Jets continue their march to the Miami 11.
Interesting thought. First catch of the day for Wesley Walker. And, of course, that's one of the bad stats for the Jets. But a well-thrown football thrown in the area where it could not be intercepted. Walker breaks to the outside. Let's see if Ryan will go back to the pass on 2nd and short.
2nd and 1. Now he goes to the first down carry by Augustiniak, who is inside the 10. First and goal for the New York Jets. They got a big 9 yards to go for the touchdown, and the clock is running. That probably will be the last play of the quarter.
Dick, you asked me about pressure of playing in a town like New York. One of the pressures, a coach is not free to make decisions without a great deal of scrutiny. Now let's assume that Ryan continues to play the way he's playing now, has a good day. What happens this next week? All the questions. Well, who plays? You're going to start Ryan? You're going to go back to Todd? Tremendous amount of pressure on a coach. Not necessarily true in a small town, but certainly here you've got that pressure.
And that is the end of the third quarter with Miami in front 30-7. In relief of starting quarterback Richard Todd, Pat Ryan. He's the story here in New York as he's trying to rally the Jets from a huge deficit. Miami owns a 30-7 lead as we open the fourth quarter. First and goal for the Jets at the Miami 9. Field, no handoff, and it's a screen to Schuler, and that's going to be a touchdown.
A little throwback screen. Ryan running to his right, pulling the defense with him, and Joe Fields, the center, number 65, will just wait and then drift out on the backside. He's the blocker for Mickey Schuler coming in at the bottom of your picture.
And the kick is good by Pat Leahy. So Pat Ryan, after the fumble recovery by Joe Klecko, is able to take the Jets 43 yards in 6 plays to cut the lead to 30-14.
Now you didn't see the block. You'll see it here, number 65, bottom of your screen. Right there, you saw the result of it as he knocked
30-14. Leahy kicking off, Fulton Walker, and they do not use the onside kick. Walker at the 4, the 15, the 20. Oh, what a nice move by Walker, and he's still on his feet, and now he can really go. 45, 50. He's got blockers. And Fulton Walker finally stumbles down and then fumbles, and Miami recovers. Be the best kickoff man in the NFL, Fulton Walker. He's had a couple of long returns today, and it was his own superb running, a couple of cuts and a hurdle that broke him free.
From way on top of the stadium, a chance to watch Walker as he drifts into the right side, and watch the tackle he breaks right here. He's going to be trapped. It will look like he's going down. He simply refuses to lose his feet, gets away from the block or the tackle by Barber right there. He's in the middle of a convoy. He's got a half a dozen blockers. Now he's trying to stay with the blockers. Joe Rose right there, number 81 of them, finally got him out of bounds.
I think he almost had too many blockers. They got in his way. Franklin dragged down by Darrell Ray, number 28. That was a 78-yard kickoff return by Fulton Walker. And just as the Jets buy a little momentum, Walker comes right back to spin them.
Joe Gardy, instructions from the defensive coordinator: get the football, turnover time, tackle the football, force the interception. We got to have the football.
Now in the shadows of that closed end of Shea Stadium, Miami, 2nd and 10. Fred Steinfort has just kicked the field goal for New England, and New England pulls to within 21-16 of San Diego. Marino. Tony Nathan near a first down before Bob Crable can make the tackle. And at halftime, the Buffalo Bills lead 24-7. They got a field goal from Danilo, 23 yards just before the gun. So the Bills, young Kay Stevenson, the head coach of Buffalo, he's done very quietly a terrific job in his initial year replacing Chuck Knox. Marino, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 226 yards passing, 3rd and 1 at the Jet 8-yard line. See Roy Foster,
Shula calling timeout. Not happy with the call or with the defense or the personnel. He said, we'll take the timeout rather than make a mistake here.
He doesn't miss much, does he?
No, he doesn't.
The Don of Miami, Grandpa Schuler. Don Schuler was kidding you about a sucker play yesterday at practice. He said, Merlin, want us to run the sucker play?
Well, they loved to run that play on me when we used to play Baltimore head-to-head, and they would pull the guard, and I would follow the guard. They'd run the back naked in there. They did love that play.
Richard Todd benched here in the second half. 3rd and 1. Airborne Tony Nathan for the first down at the 6-yard line. Now the Jets have been stopping Franklin all day, so the call went to Nathan, and it's 1st and goal Miami.
Don Shula's got Sandusky, John Sandusky, offensive line coach on the sideline, who's been with him for so many years. He used to design those plays for me, and then I'd yell at him on the sideline. There he is with his back to us. They'd run the play and usually make it go for a few yards. They'd run it once a game just to keep me honest, and then I'd yell at him on the sideline, let him know I appreciated him.
Not many times you were suckered. In fact, it's a compliment. They knew that you could read it so well that you'd go for the obvious, and they tried to run it in behind you. Franklin, nothing but green jerseys for Andre Franklin. Oh, he's just been held almost to nothing today, Andre Franklin. 10 carries, 6 yards.
The numbers against the Jet defense are impressive for Miami today, but the Jets defense has played with a great deal of emotion. They have been swarming, and they have been hitting on the field. I think certainly a case of Miami doing a lot of things well rather than a poor Jet defense.
Steelers with a field goal, lead 37-17. Apparently the Browns will continue to go empty away from Three Rivers Stadium. Marino, he threw that one into the first row. Ken Schroy was the coverage. It appeared that the receiver stumbled Bruce Hardy leaving the line of scrimmage.
Marino getting into what appears to be a bad habit of throwing in a retreating mode. And I think, I'm sure that Shula and the offensive coordinators, offensive team will get together with him and say, wait a minute, we want you to stand in there and not be dropping back as you're throwing that football. Hard to throw accurately when you're leaning back or taking your momentum away from the football, although he's been able to do that a couple of times today.
See Roy Foster, 61, but he actually is an eligible receiver. He's playing the right end position. And for blocking, obviously. Inside handoff. Woody Bennett. And they say he did not get in. He stopped just shy of the goal line. Lance Mell made the saving tackle. Good call. Little trap inside.
I'm sure that the defense was expecting a pass or a big play outside. Miami going right up the gut, able to get good yardage. I think the defense was stunning to the outside. Lecco and Gastineau, and you see the shoulder down, the ball down just shy of the goal line.
And on 4th and goal, Shula, obviously with the lead, 30-14, will go for it.
Shula had been 4 for 4 going for it on 4th down. He did not make it. Watch the surge by the Jets defense as they break it up and stop him just short of the goal line.
So the Jets take over inside their 1. With the 2 points as Ryan fumbled the snap from center. So often a play that plagues the new quarterback, and the exchange from center, and now Miami gets 2 instead of 7 and will get the ball back. It's 32-14.
Walton's got to be shaking his head. Ryan looking back, wanted to hand off to Crutchfield, simply couldn't keep his hands on that football. It dropped away right there, and you're absolutely right, just did not stay in long enough under the center. And again, when you haven't taken a single snap in a game during the season, you have to expect some of that kind of problems.
Now the Jets, after An outstanding defensive stand, 4th and goal on the 1-foot line. They get the ball back, and then just as quickly, all that emotion is lost as a safety and have to give up the ball. And it's been a long afternoon for 47-year-old Joe Walton, and that young man, the youngest on the Miami team, 21-year-old Mike Charles. It looks as if the Dolphins not only have a good pick in Marino, but their second-round choice, Charles, has played well.
You got to wonder, as well as they've done with a 4-3 defense today, will they come back to a 4-3 next week?
Well, meanwhile, we've got an upset brewing at New England as the Patriots, who have trailed the entire game and is by as much as 21-10, have gone ahead. Mark Van Egan, a 1-yard run with 10 minutes left in the game. Patriots 23, Chargers 21, and St. Louis has scored on a Randy Love run to make it 34-20 against Tampa Bay. That's with just a minute left at Tampa Bay, so it appears the Buccaneers will be without a win. Ramsey's punt is short at the 40-yard line, and Kozlowski is tackled immediately. So number 40, Kozlowski at the 40, and Dolphins have the ball.
Well, Dick, certainly Joe Walton and the Jets are having trouble beating the Miami Dolphins, but they're not the only trouble. They're not the only team that has trouble beating Shula and these Miami Dolphins. And just a question for our fans, and well, there it is right there. How many teams have never lost? How many teams the Miami Dolphins have never lost to? Now look at that list.
It's amazing.
And there was another team on that list until just earlier in the year. New Orleans won their first game against Miami just earlier this season. You wouldn't believe that there would be that many teams in the league that have never defeated the Miami Dolphins.
First down, Dolphins. They lead 32-10. Ball at their 40. Marino, arms just long enough to get that handoff to Tony.
Now the Jets have an interesting stat. Teams that they have never beaten. And if you look down that list, you'll see 2 teams that they have yet to play this season, Pittsburgh and San Francisco. So not only is that a stat that they would like to see change, but 2 of those teams on this year's schedule yet to be played by these Jets.
We'll be seeing those games here on NBC, and of course the Jets, should they lose today, 3-4, and they've got some tough teams ahead. David Overstreet down at the 42, no gain. Mel with a tackle. Clock continues to run. 9:20 left, and Miami will have to give up the ball. Speaking of San Francisco, Ray Wersching has just kicked his 6th field goal. That's 1 short of Jim Bakken's all-time NFL single-game record. Wersching makes it 25-13. San Francisco with 2.5 minutes left in the game at New Orleans.
You might as well pull out the stops and go for a block here. They got one of Roby's kicks early. Let's see if they're going again. They are.
Oh, does he hammer that one? Mullen at his own 3. And he's down at the 11-yard line. Oh, that ball just rockets off the foot of Roby. Eddie Hill made the tackle. 55-yard punt. A 9-yard return. Gastineau and Neal the other half of the Jets' front 4. And in case you join us late, Richard Todd's interceptions, 4 of those in the first half, really turned the game around. St. Louis has beaten Tampa Bay 34-27, so Tampa Bay 0-7, St. Louis 2-5. Ryan down the middle to Lamb Jones. Incomplete at the 30. And as you pointed out earlier, Merlin Olsen, that's the pass that Jones has just not been able to pull in very often. Over the middle.
He is not big and strong, sprinter's build, and I don't blame him for not wanting to go in there. It takes a special kind of temperament for the receivers to go down and slide inside and go up for that football knowing that they're going to be blasted. I don't blame a man for not doing it, but it certainly takes that to be effective as a wide receiver.
32-14. I guess you said that about as kindly as you can. Bruce Harper. And jitterbugging along the sidelines, and the music finally stops as Paul Langford, number 44. We talked about outstanding track and field athletes. Langford was a top-notch 400-meter hurdle man at Penn State. He's 6'1", 182, picked in the 3rd round last year by the Dolphins.
Dolphins have now gone back to a 3-man line. Kozlowski, as we said, their emergency linebacker, in there calling defenses and playing in the linebacker position.
but not worried so much about the run here. That gives them an extra man to cover the pass, and it figures that's what the Jets will do. Ryan, good number, 7 for 9. Pull that one in at the 31-yard line. Brzezinski with a tackle, short of the first down by about a yard.
Give him a chance to take a little bow here as he dips in and catches one on the inside. Kim Bocamper had gone back to had started in from his defensive end position and dropped back into a linebacking position on that play. Lamb Jones certainly showing us on that play. He must have been listening. Hey, I can go in there and catch the ball. He did.
2nd down and 1. Ryan, his receiver, covered initially, and then he can't quite find Harper.
Last week and saw some of the great passes he threw against these Jets as they came out on top, 10-7. Certainly a frustrating business being a quarterback. We've got a timeout on the field.
This is how the standings looked prior to today's play. Baltimore losing to Buffalo 24-7 at the half. Now, if Miami should win, they'll stay within a game of the lead. The loser, as we pointed out several times, drops 2 games back. And it's not just being 2 games out of first place. You hate to get too many teams in front of you. You got to leapfrog over too many to get to first place.
Well, that's 2 games in division, 2 losses in division, too.
Durking vaulting forward across the 35 for the first down. Of course, Miami will give the Jets all the short yardage they want and just let the clock go. Halfway through this 4th quarter, 7.5 minutes left. That's the score as Buffalo and Baltimore open the 3rd quarter. Of course, they start 1 hour behind this game. San Francisco, that was a close game at one time. 32-13, Wendell Tyler, your former teammate of the Rams, 34-yard run. He's back and healthy, and with 1:28 left, it appears the 49ers have their 5th win.
Back much before he was expected, too. They expected him to be out 6 weeks.
Ryan going long, and Gerald Small has his 2nd interception. So 5 interceptions by the 2 Miami cornerbacks. Judson with 3 and Small with 2.
Well, Len Berman indicated that Sipe and Cleveland had an edge with 6. The Jets come right back and even it up.
Well, it's not quite enough arm by Ryan, and that was Todd's problem in the first half.
Well, and it's a frustrating situation. The Miami defense can afford to play deep. They'll give you the completion underneath. They're all back there 15, 20 yards to start out with. Gerald Small made it look easy.
Wesley Walker has made more tackles today than he's caught passes. That's not a good statistic, because 3 of those interceptions came with Walker deep, and he had to see someone grab it and then make the tackle.
And people beginning to bail out here as Marino gets another chance to put some statistics together offensively.
Meanwhile, Tony Collins has scored for New England. It appears the Patriots are going to knock off San Diego. It's 30-21 with just 2:23 left up at Foxborough. That'd be a big win for New England, pulling them 3-4 and knocking San Diego down to 3-4.
And how many of the experts were willing to bank on these 2 teams, the Jets and San Diego, at the beginning of the year? Certainly we expected them to perform much better than they have.
And after 7 games for the 2 of them to have losing records. 6:15 left in the 4th quarter. Dan Marino handing off to Overstreet. He's dragged down nicely by Gastineau after Klecko slowed him down. Well, we have lots of scores and highlights. Let's catch this latest development, NFL 83.
All right, Dick, you just mentioned it. Here's the Tony Collins touchdown. Remember opening day, Jets in San Diego? Was it a preview of the AFC Championship game? They are both now 3-4 if the scores hold up. All the scores and highlights after the game. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Lance, so stay tuned. Have all the finals for you right at the conclusion of this game. We'll go to NFL 83 headquarters. Pat Ryan looks on as Dan Marino sets his line at the Miami 20, 3rd down and 12. Overstreet picking his way for short yardage. You know, you're looking back at some old notes, Merlin. Remember the Orange Bowl game we did? I think it was 79-80. Was Oklahoma, Nebraska. The starting Oklahoma backfield in that game had David Overstreet, Billy Sims, and Kenny King were the running backs behind Ronnie Lott. Del Rey of the Jets was a safety man. But what a great team that was. Roberts was an All-American guard. Victor Hicks
Greg
has
Roberts, yes. Victor Hicks played tight end out in L.A.
Tabor
for a while.
boys.
You bet.
What a team.
They have put a few people into the NFL from Oklahoma.
Roby, well, he's got the whole field to kick to. See if he can really root one out of there. He's fun to watch.
Ooh. That one's almost to the top of the stadium.
That's the infield fly roll at the 30-yard line. He really hit a pop fly, 47 yards, and no way you're going to return that one.
I don't want to be down there waiting for that thing to come down either, Dick.
And we watched yesterday, even the Miami players had trouble fielding his kicks because they do some crazy things. Now here, hardly crazy when you talk about $360,000 involved. Nicholas Watson, Palmer, and Player. They're going to do. They're going to pay 6 holes are worth $10,000. Then the next 6, $20,000. Final 6, $30,000. If players tie in a hole, which should happen several times, then the money goes to the next hole. That's going to be the 26th and 27th Thanksgiving weekend here on NBC. Well, that sounds like something a Don Ohlmeyer would think of. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is South Florida 7, WSVN, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Now Scott Durking takes it out to the 36-yard line. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, Shea Stadium in New York, almost half empty at this moment as fans have gone home, acknowledging the fact that it will be Miami that wins today. 32-14 Dolphins. Pat Ryan subbing for Richard Todd, the Harper. He's to the 45-yard line. Put yourself, Merlin, in Coach Joe Walton's shoes tomorrow. Tomorrow's got to be the toughest day in sport if you're a football coach that is lost on Sunday. As Ryan without a huddle. Oh, almost intercepted. Walker broke up the interception. That was headed right to a Dolphin when Walker got a kill on it.
If Dick, I can almost get on that sideline. I've been in losing games like this, and I've been with teams that were expected to win and could not win. One of the things they have to do, and it's probably the toughest thing, is to put this game behind them. They can't go back and replay it. They'll look at the film. They'll see their mistakes. They'll see that they were not as bad today as the score would indicate. They'll see some good things in the game, but the most important thing is that they've got to put it behind them, just as Richard Todd has to put those interceptions behind him.
Ryan to Durking, and he has another first down to the Miami 44, but the short yardage costs you time. They're the policemen we saw at the start of the game. And one thing we must say, there were a lot of ballyhooing about whether or not the fans would really be disruptive and angry about the Jets' move to New Jersey. It's been quite the opposite. There's hardly a ripple of reaction to that. And in fact, the word we get from the Jets front office is that of thousands of calls, they've all been positive. There have only been like 50, 60 calls that have been negative about the move.
Well, I think if you ask the callers to comment on the quality of the Jets football today, there might be a lot of negative calls.
Harper to the 20-yard line on a good throw from Ryan, and with 3:13 and the clock running, Jets will hurry into position, a first down. Kozlowski made the tackle, winding down toward the 3-minute mark, fourth period. Miami leading 32-14. Ryan underneath to Durking, and he's to the 8-yard line. Brzezinski with the stop, another first down.
Brzezinski.
First and goal.
These last 3 minutes will last a lifetime for Walton, for all of the Jets. They just want to get this game over, get out of here. But certainly for Don Shula and Arnsparger, some concern here. One of the things they don't want to see happen, they can't afford any more injuries to their defense. And they're anxiously watching the defenders on the field, make sure they're all standing after every play.
Ryan looking for a cosmetic score. And that one away from Lamb Jones, who was well covered as Gerald Small took the outside away from the Jets receiver. And Marino, we will leave this game today, Merlin, with one impression, and that is with a lot of stars around that name, Dan Marino. He looks as if he's got a great career ahead of him.
Well, I think he does, Dick, but as a young learning quarterback, he'll have some days that aren't nearly as sparkling as today. But he at least has demonstrated that he can go out and get the job done. He has a strong arm. He's not afraid to put himself at risk. He can run with the football, and he'll get better in terms of reading the defenses.
49ers have first place in the NFC West as they beat New Orleans 32-13. Now the Rams with a chance to tie if they can win later. Fake, reverse, and the throw. Almost an interception for Kozlowski. Better known in his youth as a volleyball player was Kozlowski. In fact, he had a scholarship to college as a volleyball player. Eventually went to Colorado, matriculated there in Boulder, and became an outstanding tailback.
Out of position on that play as a linebacker, was not fooled at all. Red Barber's moved to the outside, out there to cover him, and he went up, spiked that one to the ground.
2-12. Bruce Harper figures that he might be in the thick of this call. 3rd and goal at the 8. Watch what 42 does. He goes in motion. There he is. Complete at the 1-yard line. Short of a and Harper looks as if he's hurt as Glenn Blackwood, one of those killer bees. 7 of the 11 defensive starters today for Miami. Their last name starting with bees. That's how that killer bee theme began. And they even have a name now when Miami's killer bees have a sack. They call it beeswax. W-H-A-C-K-S. Beeswax.
Well, Harper takes some wax on this play. He's up and he's moving. Good shot on the back. Glenn Blackwood, number 47. You'll see him soloed on the right side of your screen. Look at him driving in. His job to keep Harper out of the end zone. They're escorting him off the field. He's going to be all right. 4th and 1. You've got to go for it, but not until after
business ahead. He can be happy today with a Miami impressive performance. He's still got to deal with that head man Don Shula, and a job well defined to try to keep him in that Dolphin camp. It's 4th and goal for the Jets at the 2. Ryan doesn't make it, and that symbolizes the Jets' effort today.
Perhaps a fitting ending to an inept performance by the Jets offense in particular. What
and a great defense by Miami.
Oh yes, well, certainly considering the problems that they have had defensively, amazing that they have been able to play so effectively. And one of the things that happens, Dick, when you get people hurt, you've got to have great individual performances from your people who are healthy. Miami has indeed gotten those kind of performances today. And one of the things that you hear Jets talking about, it absolutely mystifies them and mystifies us watching from up here. The lack of emotion, the lack of intensity, and there's obvious quality on that Jets bench. There's obvious quality on the field. They have not been able to get performance, and you can only talk about potential for so long. After a while, it becomes a dirty word.
Joe Danilo, 40-yard field goal. Buffalo has scored 27 unanswered points to lead midway through the 3rd quarter at Baltimore. And it's just Marino sitting on the ball. This is going to give us a chance while we have time here, Merlin. What do you think of this idea? That at the end of the game, you can, in this situation, the last 2 minutes, you can't just do the flop down, take it down, and let the clock run. That you must make a conscious effort to advance the ball. Now that was, he took the snap and moved ahead, but not to take the snap when the other team's out of timeouts, just fall down, let the clock run. What do you think of that idea?
I would like to see that. I think it's wrong to allow a team just to sit on the football and wait out the end of a ball game. I think they should have to put it into play.
I agree.